Mayor Ganim virtual town hall on May 5th, 2020, which in English or Spanish is called Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Share on Facebook, click share now if you can. Sometimes there's information out here that we give as accurately as we can that might be helpful to people that you know. So let them know we're going 12:30 every day until we don't know. But what we do know is, in order to get there, whenever that is, quicker, we're going to continue to do the things that we've been doing so well. I don't mean me and us here, but I mean really you. It is starting to pay, let's just pay dividends, or at least to have the impact that we want it to have, which is getting us closer and closer to reopening. And I know if you've heard dates like May 20th, which is the kind of milestone operative date for reopening or for beginning the substantial aspects of reopening. Don't think we're done, we can throw our masks away, we can forget about social distancing, because it can turn around and delay things if it has a negative impact. So if you follow the news, and it's hard not to, but it's hard to get kind of a singular storyline on what's going on anywhere. There's some kind of backstories now about how numbers might be going up nationally, predicated, if you will, or based on openings by some of the states. So we're going to watch that, but we are going to act cautiously and deliberately. I know that's what the state's going to do, what the governor's doing, what we're all doing on local levels. One thing we are doing, again, is if you see it up on the screen, we will be distributing now these kind of brain surgeons, but we can use their PPE. They're distributed widely and will be distributed 100,000, up to 100,000 masks, which is a large part of our supply now, will be distributed to Bridgeport residents without questions or qualifications. If you're a Bridgeport resident and you don't have a mask or you want some masks, they'll be packaging them up this weekend. If we can get it out sooner, we'll move the date up. But for right now, it's set for Saturday morning at 10 a.m. There'll be 5 locations. Right now, that's the goal. If we can announce those locations tomorrow, and if we can advance, so to speak, the dates to have people there to distribute them, it'll probably be from 10 to the time that we run out of masks, if that's what's happened. Bridgeport mass distribution, city residents, you have to show some type of proof of residency, because I don't know that any other city or town is doing this. Hopefully they will, and hopefully they are. But we're going to take care of our residents, and I don't mean any disrespect to surrounding towns, but this is for Bridgeport residents, so they might ask you for a vehicle registration or your utility bill and or your driver's license. And it's drive-up only to protect the people who are giving them out and to help you keep our goal of social distancing. I'm very glad to see, we've talked about it, if you've been paying attention the last couple of weeks, mayors have talked about it, and now it's official. Schools are closed. Doesn't mean they're learning stops, but the buildings are not going to reopen for the rest of this academic year. That is news. I don't know if it came out last night or it came out today, but it is effective. So I'm happy. I'm not happy that we're not going back to school physically, but I'm happy that we're not going to deal with the disruption and the challenges that may have reaped, let's say, some nominal benefits, but caused, I think, or at least had the potential to cause what could have been enormous problems. But my hat's off, my appreciation, as I'm sure with all of you, to parents who are now parent-teachers, to teachers who are doing distant learning, to our whole Board of Education that even continues to feed through this and make sure that our children are giving through this unusual, but maybe the norm now, learning experience, the best opportunity not only to finish the grade, but to continue to learn, become smart, and go out and hopefully conquer the world with their education and abilities. One of those things that's going to help them, we talked about laptops, and everybody called and said, we're going to help you with laptops. Well, bottom line is that with the help of the Board of Education and City Administration, we were able to finally secure almost 1,000, about 900 have been received and are in the process of being distributed through the Board of Education. I want to thank them for that. We've gone out and are procuring a total of 2,000, at least to start with. We're doing it. We had a lot of kind of offers that people were going to do it. They're coming. The computer's in the mail. But these are here, and they should be able to be in the hands of our students very soon. So we're kind of happy about that. That supplements, I think, what we need to do in understanding this new world. This whole thing about all these buildings and 30 children who live in the same neighborhood going to the same school may begin to change dramatically. I mean, think about it. You can have a worldwide classroom of 30 students, all just going online. So let's see what happens. And let's try to position ourselves certainly to keep pace and maybe even slightly ahead of what we anticipate to be some of the challenges ahead in every part of our world, but certainly as we talk now about educating young people. Talking about educating, Skill Up CT program, free online learning. We can continue to learn at every age. I learn every day, usually by mistakes. My best method of learning. It's not the way I try and do it, but that's usually what happens. But this is free online learning, licenses available to recipients of unemployment insurance. You access 5,000 online SkillSoft courses, and these are the areas: IT, great thing, information technology, business analysis, customer service, project management, and digital literacy. That's pretty cool. So if you're looking for opportunities, if you've got time, now's the time to take advantage of this. It's called the Skill Up CT program. It's free online learning. If you have more questions, go to our website, City of Bridgeport website. We'll post that information. Even though we're not sponsoring the program, it's a state program, and we appreciate them doing it. So it's for people from everywhere in Connecticut. As are unemployment benefits. Again, it's file, FILECTUI.com. I know there's challenges there. So we got a couple more slides that might be able to help us kind of address some of those. I don't know if they're in sequence right now, but let's see. What's the next one say? Yeah, so self-employed individuals. If you're a self-employed individual, this is what you should do. Try to make it simple, a two-step application process. We didn't do this, the state did this, so we want to thank them for that. Beginning April 30th, you can file a regular state claim application with the Connecticut Department of Labor using the blue button to file. I've never looked at the blue button, but I'm sure it's there. Once you receive, number two, step two, once you receive your, it's called a UC-58 in the mail, I guess you're going to get it in the mail, go to the CTDOL, Department of Labor, Connecticut Department of Labor, www.filectui, the same website that we gave you before, or email address, for the link to PUA button, to a PUA button. I don't know what PUA is, but I'm reading it for you. And so bottom line is, if you're self-employed and you haven't applied, you can apply, and that was beginning April 30th. You go online. It's the State of Connecticut Department of Labor. Good luck with that. I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. I hope that everybody's able to get through the process. It's hard because they've gotten so many applicants. Also, the SNAP program, a federal supplemental nutrition assistance program. That's what SNAP stands for. It's to help people with food, with nutrition. And now all households, now meaning as of May 8th, will receive what's called the maximum benefits. That's pretty good. The average emergency benefit amount a household will see on the EBT cards, that's the cards that people get if you get SNAP, you get it in a card from what I understand, on May 8th will be $150. I don't know how that changes from what you're receiving now, but it will be maximum as of May 8th, $150. It's got to be good news. All these things help. Talking about feeding, talking about job opportunities, talking about unemployment, talking about skill sets. Let's take advantage of some of the things that are out there that we're talking about that may have not been happening before. As we plan to what? To reopen, right? Cautiously. I think they got a slide that says go slowly. I don't know if they want to bring it up now, but it's kind of fun to look at. Not that slowly. Okay. We want to go to that slide? That'd be great. Go a little further. Let's see if we can find it. All right. I thought there's one that said reopen slowly. I just thought I'd touch on that. So let's go back. So here's the deal. Reopening has a lot of components of it. And it is being done by our governors, meaning Connecticut's governor and the governors in the region, in coordination. Because none of this COVID-19 or any of this stops at any imaginary state or local borders. So, there are plans that make sense. So beginning, let's remember this date, May 20th. It's coming soon. When we look at the calendar, you'll see how soon it's coming. It's going to have 4 stages. To start phase 1, the state, not the city, but the entire state for state reopening. We're going to start showing our numbers on a regular basis once staff catches up on this, which I know they're trying to do. 14-day decline in hospitalizations, in addition to, they call it a 6-point criteria, which we'll touch upon. Some of these we talked about before, and some of them we're on point on. But we want to look at these 14-day decline, because 14 days is a pretty solid number. So even if you start seeing 7 or 8-day decline, you kind of know you're on your way unless something changes that's unexpected. So that's good news. But by looking at 14 days, even between now and then, we're going to see our numbers a lot lower, I would hope and believe, than they are now. And part of this, meaning discharge rates from hospitals, in other words, the people hospitalized, we're going to look at people's survival rate, how many people have died as a result of the COVID contact or COVID-19. And so some of that's going to help is making sure that we have increased testing available, and we're doing our part, substantially increasing the test availabilities, as we'll talk about in a minute, in Bridgeport and beyond. Contact tracing, very difficult, never been done before that I know of, certainly not with my awareness, but that's an element that we'll take and work with the state on if we need our help. We want to make sure that we touch all these. We want to continue to protect our high-risk populations. We know who that is. That's seniors or people with pre-existing conditions. We want to make sure that we have adequate health care, and our hospitals are doing a phenomenal job, so we're checking the boxes here. We have adequate supply of PPE. I think we're there. We continue to be there. There seem to be ample supplies out there. I'm not happy about how it's procured, that you got to go out and chase it yourself. But you know what? I can tell you that we're going to be putting out 100,000 surgical masks. We couldn't do that a month ago. We put out as many as we could. I think we gave out 20,000 and we ran out. And appropriate physical distancing regulations, and we'll talk about that with restaurants in a couple minutes, maybe even as early as the next slide. Here it is. So what we're talking about with restaurants, which is kind of cool because everybody thinks about those being what you want to reopen, and we certainly love our outdoor or our dining, meaning dining out. This is going to add one more, a more visible dimension to the word outdoor dining, because you're not just going out to eat, you're going to be going out and be out when you eat, because it's going to be outdoor dining. It says in restaurants, outside restaurants. No bars, but it's anticipated as early as May 20th. So what restaurants will be asked to do, and they're going to get a letter from, if the state didn't send a letter out, I'm asking our department to send a letter out. It'll be this letter, or a letter that looks like this, that says, in effect, and you can see it up on the screen, it says, if you wish to offer outdoor services of alcoholic beverage at your restaurant, bar, or other dining, you will need local and state approval. With this in mind, we have an application to complete with instructions. So we want to make sure that all of our restaurants will have this application with instructions. And I'm instructing, and we'll do it in writing, that our offices, meaning city government, will support in every way possible restaurants that want to create an opportunity for outdoor dining for residents and beyond. So you may see sidewalks that are normally occupied only for walking, being commandeered to allow for outdoor dining for restaurants. So we're going to make every effort to allow that to happen where space is available. I think it's a great way to get not only social distancing and keep people outside and do all the other things they need to do, maybe paper throwaway menus and things like that, but to begin to get back on what's called reopening, get life back to a little bit of what we used to enjoy that can't anymore. It talks about applying. Please do not submit any forms without required local approval. So we will be that local approval, and we'll make it happen. We're going to expand, as it says up on the chart, outdoor dining with local alcoholic beverage services. If you think your restaurant will be offering outside or dining, patio dining, file your application today. So we'll help you do that. And I've got a number of calls from restaurants. And so we look forward to that, hopefully as soon as May 20th. What else you got, Ro? Other reopenings, which you should know of, which dovetail with this, the building department will be supportive of that. Zoning, building, engineering, fire marshals are all opened again to a certain extent. Vital statistics is open with a lot of calls that we receive from, unfortunately, from funeral home directors. Go back to that slide again. I want people to know the tax collector is open, as much as we don't like going to the tax collector because they're usually not giving us money. They're usually asking for money. But the town clerk is open. And so we will see, we've got most of the staff here has been tested as recently as yesterday so that we can continue to build out personnel within city government so we can be more efficient. So skeleton crew minus 80% of what a skeleton crew looks like. We'll begin to build out into a skeleton crew with protocols about employees coming back into the building under the direction of their department head and with limited access to the public, all coming soon. Again, all meetings with city officials remain appointment only at this point. So visitors and staff must wear facial covering. City Hall visitors and employees now also are protected by what? You've seen this already, protective glass, so we're doing our thing. If you miss anything that I say or think that I'm wrong or you want better information, up to the minute, the city's website, I gotta go check it out myself, I did yesterday, make sure they're keeping it on point because I keep bragging about it. But I really do think they've got it down on point, and I think it's important that you have a source of information on some of the stuff that's important to you with local government 24/7 if you can get on your computer. You got that? It's Shannon, Carol, Angel, Gloria, Joni, Marcella, Raul, Evelyn, Darlene, and Gloria. Quick shout out to you. Hope you're doing well. Listen, if you're listening to me now and you haven't been tested and you want to get tested, most of these must have a doctor's order to receive a test at these Bridgeport sites. Those are our hospitals, Southwest, Optimus, and Docs. But there's also, I think it's on the next slide, and those are giving out tests, 150 free tests provided tomorrow. That's Wednesday. And I think that's, if you get there early, that's the 15-minute test. Patients must be symptomatic, so if you think you got it, I don't know what symptoms are. I mean, I can tell you what I hear. It's coughing and temperature and all that. I've heard all kinds of weird stuff on symptoms. But I'm encouraging, not discouraging, anybody who thinks they meet the qualifications or the requirements of having some symptoms or have been exposed or think you've been exposed. You can go tomorrow. That's at Southwest. That's on 46 Albion Street. As you kind of head out in Fairfield Avenue towards Black Rock, Albion Street is off to the left. And that's 46 Albion Street. Their phone number is 203-330-6000. They do a phenomenal job day in and day out and doing above a phenomenal job by providing free testing to Bridgeport residents. And I'm pretty sure it's a 15-minute test, free of cost, no appointment needed. Those are kind of key words. Another one is while supplies last. So we're also testing, and the city's doing this, our first responders. Tomorrow, 104 went last Saturday, that's when I went, and 300 Bridgeport first responders scheduled to be tested tomorrow. So we're getting our team tested, so you need to be part of the tested team, if you will, the extended tested team, and we thank them for their service. Our numbers, so we're going to continue with the number statistics that we have, but I told you we're going to incorporate some of those that are more closely aligned with this 14-day decline on what's hospitalizations, in other words, the numbers that are in the hospitals, and even the fatality rate. But so far, for coronavirus testing at our hospitals, we have 6,645. So they're doing up plus or minus about 200 a day at those two locations. I don't know that I've incorporated the other locations in here, so let's stick with the charts that we've been working with so far. And the important one is their capacity, our two hospitals. And they've remained relatively steady. Yesterday we saw a little bit of a jump in some numbers and they weren't sure why. But basically their bed capacity, which is, you know what a bed capacity is, it's a hospital bed. They're at 56% occupied. So that's where they've been, 55, 50, up to size 60. And they're right in that 55, 56 range. Ventilators, they are up and down on that. One hospital has 38% in use, the other one has 66% in use. I don't know what the raw numbers are on how many ventilators, but percentage-wise, those are still within our comfort zone. Those are critical to making sure that we're able to adequately address, especially as, assuming we've gone through this kind of bubble now, that should keep us in good stead with available hospital beds and ventilators. So this is the numbers we're going to start to incorporate. When you look at the statewide chart, if you can't see it, it has the counties, Fairfield County, New Haven County, Litchfield, Hartford, Middlesex, in different colors. And it shows current hospitalized by Connecticut County. So Fairfield County, which is our county, 507 are considered inpatient or hospitalized right now, and I believe those are COVID patients. And that's down 7 from yesterday. And yesterday I looked at the number and it was down 11 from the day before. So we're going to graph those out. And if my intuition is correct, then we're going to see those numbers continue to be going down. You may see an aberration where it goes up a moment or two or a day or two here or there for a variety of reasons. But generally, you're going to see it continue to go down. And as we check off days, if we can put arrows on that shows down, 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 we can try and play I don't want to say play the game, but watch the dates on this 14-day or 7 or 8 days. So we see where we meet that mark and what's one of the criteria, and I think a fair criteria and a conservative criteria towards the elements of being satisfied that we're where we need to be for reopening. So on the next chart, which is going to make it up there in a minute, it shows that our COVID persons in Connecticut that are confirmed is almost just under 30,000 by, I guess it's last night's numbers, 29,973. So they're going to break, or we're going to break, or the state's going to break the 30,000 person confirmed cases with about 1,464 hospitalized. I think that's presently hospitalized, and deaths with 2,556 people who've died as a result. Fairfield County has 12,245 confirmed cases. Again, the lion's share, almost the next two largest, Hartford and New Haven counties combined, almost that large. And but interesting, our hospitalizations now, as a percentage of confirmed cases, is substantially less than the other two largest counties. In other words, 487 hospitalizations in New Haven versus 507 in Fairfield County, and they only have, or they have 4,000 less. They have 8,000 cases, 4,000 less cases than Fairfield County does in New Haven County. Interesting numbers. We have 2,180 people that have contacted or proved to be confirmed positive COVID in Bridgeport. That's up 33 from yesterday. That is a lower number of confirmed than we've seen as we look at, in a minute, one of our charts, but 106 people now have been confirmed dead as a result of related to COVID. So if this were our only chart, this were our only graph, which it's not, but it's the only one we're going to use today, you would see that line kind of flattening out because of only 33 people from yesterday to today. So that's substantially less than we had Monday, which we think was really should be flatter because it's probably got both weekend numbers in there. So even this chart of just confirmed cases is starting to trend visually to where we want it to be. But I'm convinced, and maybe I'm wrong, that when we start putting in, they'll probably just Fairfield County hospitalization numbers, because I don't think we're getting local hospitalizations for just Bridgeport. So we'll do it by county, and that's good, because we're only 17 square miles, and we're not separated or segregated by these, imaginary lines. So I think the county numbers will be good. And if you can't see the chart, it shows that, again, it's leveling off, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And I'll try and describe it for radio listeners as we go through this every day. And if I don't, I usually get a piece of paper that's put up that reminds me. So we're doing our best. So on the next chart, we're getting closer to Christmas, which is May 20th. And we see we're checking those. Today's checked off. That's crazy. Good job. So we've actually got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 more days, 2 weeks. 2 weeks until we'll be at May 20th. I think that's good news. In between now and then, probably tomorrow, we'll contact local businesses and probably relax what's been this highly recommended 8 p.m. where a lot of businesses are closing. Those that want to open later, we're going to start to let them open, and that'll be a big step in the right step. I think a big step and a good step in the correct or right direction. That's right, meaning correct, not W-R-I-T-E. Okay. But if you were to write something, it'd be better if you could draw something, just like this Central High School student did. There's a beautiful picture if you're on the radio. Beautiful lion. And I know that's a lion. There's no guessing about that. It was done in the direction of the art teacher, Rachel Machete. And I got to tell you, that's real. I would love this if they sell it and buy it to have as a display. So I don't know if you're selling your artwork. I don't know if there's color to it, but it's in pencil or in stencil, and it looks really, really good. Very, very professional. Also, kind of cool. I had a hard time figuring this out, so you can laugh at me a little bit if you want. Free mobile Wi-Fi hotspot. Mobile free mobile Wi-Fi hotspots in the buses. Park near the bus to get your work done. Interesting statement. Park near the bus to get your work done. So I imagine myself driving up next to the bus, using the Wi-Fi from the bus driving away, and me chasing them, trying to stay up with the Wi-Fi, and Rowena said somebody on their skateboard trying to chase them so they can keep Wi-Fi, and that's not how it works. But it is in the buses. They're going to have a bus park thanks to the McGivney and the Sheen Center out in front. So they'll be in constant hotspot area at the Sheen Center and at the McGivney Center. So if you're utilizing those facilities, those great organizations, you will have a hotspot there they don't otherwise have. Why? Because the bus put them there, and we want to thank that. Central High School, too. Bassick High School, Bassick High School parking lot, Central High School parking lot, McGivney Community Center, continuing to enrich our lives through learning. Thank you. Great job. That's pretty cool, and it's innovative. What's not innovative, but was also really cool, is I said at the beginning, today is Cinco de Mayo. Even I can translate that. That's the celebration today that you're supposed to have margaritas and all that at. And too bad our outdoor dining with alcoholic beverages wasn't. But I know people, I know especially those listening, because I know you have a tendency to try and enjoy yourselves even in the midst of all this. We'll enjoy Cinco de Mayo in your own safe way, staying 6 feet away from your martini and from your quarantini and from your margarita. But enjoy it, really. Thank you. This is a thank you poster, thanking everyone who gets the job done, who's out there on the front lines. That includes WICC 600 and includes Radio Cumbre 1450. We appreciate it, you being here with us today. Hopefully you find this informative and steady and consistent for local information. I will tell you that as much as it's been kind of a steady, there will be increased announcements, like the masks today, like some of the reopening things beyond city government will be announced later this week and next week. So there'll be interesting stuff that possibly could impact your life, hopefully in a favorable way, between now and the 20th, and then we'll see where we go from there. Lastly, we try and incorporate other city business in here. We didn't do much of that today, but we have a lot. One thing I will tell you is that the city council they did a phenomenal job. I didn't get a chance last night because it was such a long meeting. I usually say something on the record to them. The 20 members of the city council, our council president, Heidi Nieves, the budget committee, the budget chairs, but all the members of city council. And if you listen to the meetings and you hear somebody say something that's kind of not so much germane to the business in front of you, that's just a part of life. But the stuff that is germane and the stuff that is important and the job that they did under very difficult circumstances with this budget was nothing short, frankly, of extraordinary. Now, it wasn't exactly what I presented, and it wasn't exactly everything that I wanted. But I will tell you, there are so many uncertainties out there in everyone's life. Can you imagine trying to make judgment decisions with this level of uncertainty for 150 or more thousand people with a budget of over $500 million of revenues that may or may not be certain on any and all line items? So they did a phenomenal job. They took the conservative approach, more so, frankly, than I did in presenting the budget. But I think put adequate resources to all of the department heads, including the Board of Education, and we're sensitive certainly to the high taxes we have in the city as well. I get a note about churches. I don't know what that means.
Questions about churches. When are they reopening? Under what guidelines?
Yeah, so the churches would still be under the general guidelines that are put out by the state of Connecticut. Now, how those are going to change, we have not gotten updates on it yet. But look, we have churches all over the state. I would love to see 1 or 2 or 3 small to medium to larger size steps towards dealing with the opportunities for churches to regain their ability to have services on Sunday and beyond. So what does that mean? It means that we need to be creative, even beyond where we've been now. As we begin to reopen, we'll look for and give input to the state, and we'll give our and look for leadership from them to try and meet the needs of the churches. I'm strongly supportive of that. And if we get more updates on things that we can do locally, meaning Bridgeport proper, or with the state of Connecticut, or they're going to happen, we'll give you that information as well. Maybe even directly with a call with some of the religious leaders. Other questions?
Yes. Folks asking about the district wanting to know what that plan.
So the question is about district plans for schools. So we'll get an update. I could give you my thoughts, and they'd probably be pretty accurate, but I think it's more important that the superintendent and I, as this announcement came down, we knew and we had hoped that it would, but we want to maybe put out a lot of specifics about what this will look like. So how about tomorrow? I don't think much is going to change between now and then in the schools. So we'll do that tomorrow. And unless there's something else that's pressing, I'd ask you to continue to do what you're doing, stay home, stay safe, get out and get some fresh air, but do it within the protocols. And we will talk again tomorrow. Thanks so much. Let me start with an encouraging word of thank you to all the parents, teachers. I guess it's parents/teachers now because you're doing both. Maybe coping with a change in employment, hopefully temporary, and homeschool learning, remote learning, and you're on top of it with your children, our children, and you're getting the job done. What an amazing thing to be able to pivot from dropping them off in the morning maybe or putting them on a bus to homeschooling and getting it done this year because of the situation we're in. Thank you to parents, to teachers, to our students for getting the job done, for our teachers who are engaged in distance learning, and the whole Bridgeport public school system. A thumbs up, a remote hug to all of you. Thanks again.